Okay, okay. Hey, I got the key thing up this time. Floating head. Where am I? Oh, it's not a circle. Okay. This is. I didn't even put the right title. Uh, Part 3 of what I love about my. What did I call it? Setup. Hold on. What I love. What I love about my setup. Yeah. Okay. So what I love about my setup, part 3, paving the path. I'm going to talk about these things today. So, what you want to do is always be exercising this idea that everything is changing and you're going to have to switch your tooling, you're going to have to switch your habits, you're going to have to switch your defaults. So, you always want to be sort of exercising that muscle. An easy one is just use the other hand when you brush your teeth. I find that interesting. Use your other hand for like generally things like eating and stuff like that. It's an interesting one. Another one that will have a big impact, I guarantee, is don't use your phone for a week. Like, do whatever you can to get it to a point where you only use the absolute essentials and everything else is just, just exercise that ability to have like self-control and discipline and feel what it feels like to have certain things missing. And what I learned, one of the biggest things I learned when I did that was without a calendar or schedule thing on me all the time, I would take the time to write down sort of the things that I had to do during the day, the places I need to be, the people that I need to meet. And just the act of like sitting and thinking and writing those things down made it less overall reactive to the situations. There's a reminder. Now I have to go to this thing. It's like I was more prepared. I was more thinking about the whole day from the setup. So like these interesting things can just pop up. What helps with doing the things that you want to do is making things like defaults easy. So for example, I have an alias called skr, which is my scratch pad. It just goes into that directory and opens NeoVim with scratch pad. So I use this all the time. I was just using it. Skr, go to I have Harpoon with scratch pad is my only thing here. I can jump very quickly in here. I can start taking notes in Vim, and I'm using Vim. I used to use Obsidian. Obsidian has a Vim mode, but like I have all of my little coding quirks and features and things in my NeoVim. So it's nicer that I can just use Vim. I also, you'll notice, use Markdown. Markdown is one of those things that's just like it just keeps coming up. You can use it in so many different tools. You can use it now you can turn it on in Google Docs. You can use it in Obsidian. You can use it in all over the place, and you could have plugins that actually make the experience here like rendered like HTML. You can also take Markdown and run it through an HTML generator and like make a web page. So another example is I have, if I go to my blog, I have an Astro blog, and the content is all in Markdown. So, I have, and then like I do want to be writing blogs more. So I was like, okay, how can I make it as frictionless as possible to write a blog? So I have an alias, or not an alias. I have a npm run thing here called post. So if I do npm, I think it's yarn actually here. Yarn? Am I yarning? Oh, are we yarn? Just use npm run post my cool new post, and that just is I mean, you can look at the script. It's not crazy. It just maybe it is a little crazy. So I have this remark, is that what it's called? Metadata that goes to at the top of it with all of the valid tags, which I validate that the tags are all the same, just so that I don't forget if it's called programming or coding or whatever. And so then I put all of them in there so I can remove them. So let's see what happened if I did my cool new post. Yeah, so it made this. This is my blog post, and then so then other aliases that I use, like, so V takes me into Vim, GS get status. I have a lot of Git ones. Alias. So here's another point I'll say, like, you can make a lot of aliases, and I think I was trying to say this in the last video, but you want to still retain the knowledge of the default. So I have one called GCIN. Sort of, I remember that because CIN is sort of like sin, and like this is a bad thing that I'm doing, but I actually use it all the time, but it's a bad thing that I'm doing. What it is git add a and git commit m. So it takes me a while to kind of, but I remember what it is, right? And then I can type whatever here. So yeah, so if I look at alias GCN, yeah, so it's that. So like aliases are fine to use, I think, if you're doing something all the time, you want to make it easy, but always understand that the thing underlying it and understand how that thing works. Because if you don't understand what you're doing and that it's it's bad, the reason it's bad is because I'm doing a inline quick commit versus opening the editor and making a formal commit that has like a title and then a description and using the right. There's that whole. If I just do this, oh yeah. If I just do this, yeah. See, it opens this, and I got the 7 rules for how to do a good message and make sure I put my good message here. And this is how I should be doing it. I almost never do that. I almost do GCN thing and then git log. Yeah, just thing. I don't know. I think a lot of people agree on that that 7-step thing, but like I don't know a single engineer that actually does it. Anyway, we're getting off track. Back to Skirt. So Markdown, yeah. Make the things that you want to be doing constantly, and the defaults when you sit down, the thing you want to do, just make it very easy. Make the other things that are maybe distractions a little bit harder. So like I switched keyboards to a keyboard that's pretty hard to do gaming on, and I removed all the games from my computers. And I was like, oh, well, it's actually like a lot easier to stop playing games instead of doing more entertaining stuff like coding in Vim. So what else we got here? Drive stick shift. So this is the idea that like, that is similar to Markdown, where I could have this NeoVim plugin that renders the Markdown. It makes it look all nice and it adds colors and all these things. I actually do have one that adds colors. I don't know what that is. But I like seeing the syntax here because it's easier for me to see, oh, this is an H3 versus like however it's rendering it. Maybe I'll think it's an H2 or something. And I can see, that this is a list. I could switch this to a star. It doesn't really matter. I like just seeing it. You can do this in Slack too. You can turn off the auto formatting of the Markdown stuff in Slack so that you can actually see what you're doing. And if the Markdown renderer thing goofs up or anything, then you're not hindered by that, which I found the Slack one does a lot. And I think the one in the Vim plugin also did that a lot because I tried it. But hey, try the things, see what feels nice, see what works, but don't lose the underlying thing, right? Like getting close to the metal and like driving stick, you understand very viscerally. It's very tactile how gear shifting works and how the clutch works and how it engages and those sorts of things. And you can learn and feel more about a car by driving stick. I don't know if it's even possible to get a car and drive stick, but like metaphorically drive stick in your coding. I would recommend minimal plugins. I would also recommend fresh start. This is something Primeagen says, fresh start maybe every year-ish. So like just take all of your old configs, put them in a old file so you can reference them, or if you store them in Git, you don't have to worry about it. Wipe clean, start up a new NeoVim, right? And then see what you need and see if you can get along without stuff. And you'll probably add back most of the same things anyway. That's fine. But you'll probably, on the way, spring cleaning, you probably just drop a lot of stuff that you don't need. Markdown Git, I think, is important as like a core metal thing. Like if you don't understand, Git, I think with Git, just like dig in because you can do so much with Git. And there are a lot of new tools coming out that sort of obfuscate all the interesting things you can do. So I use Lazy Git. Oh, indeed. Lazy Git, which really cool. You can actually grab hunks, which is like a part of a change in the file. You can yoink that from one commit and then like shove it into a different commit if it's in the wrong place. Very cool, very powerful stuff. But you should understand like how that's happening under the hood. What is a interactive rebase? What are the rebase strategies? How do you do, you know, what is git blame dash capital R? Like, what is, look at this one. Blame R, R, R. You maybe didn't even know that adding a flag more than once could change the behavior of the command. I don't actually remember exactly what this does, but you know, the docs are terrible. So I guess ask an AI what that does. Core utils is a good one, or just like general bash commands getting around. JQ, I'd probably add to this, and then curl, I think, or whatever. There are a few alternatives, but your ability, if you're doing web development, to just like hit an endpoint and just like see the return and understand the headers and stuff, that kind of thing. You know, dev tools, like Chrome dev tools or whatever editor you use. I'm on Firefox now. And another big one for me is ability to dig through source code. So especially with like NeoVim. So I was looking at like, what is it called? Blink. It's not going to come up Blink and Vim. It's Blink dot, what do they call it? CMP. Yeah, that one. It is going to come up. Okay. Blink is a completion thing, and I wanted it to work with Tailwind. So let's see. Do I have Tailwind in here? I don't think I have Tailwind in here. What's the thing that I have Tailwind in? Yeah, let's look at minimal retro. Do I have Tailwind? I do. I have some Tailwind stuff, so maybe there's Tailwind in here. Let's see. Oh, this is a Next.js thing. Okay, let's just go here. Oh yeah, I do have Tailwind because I have yeah. So in Tailwind, if I do like P thing, I get this autocomplete thing. But I was like, how do I see what the actual padding is on this? And it turns out, Control space pops that thing up. So there it is. And this is through the dot n is my dot files for this. Like completion is what I call the thing. But that's not it. It's called, maybe it just does it automatically. I thought I needed an extra Tailwind plugin for this, but maybe it just actually does it automatically. Oh well, either way. What was my point? Oh yeah, digging through the code. So like, this is especially important, I think, with Vim and NeoVim. When you're every time you're looking at a new plugin, you're basically pulling in a whole new product, a whole new code base into your thing, and it could really mess up and mess with the things that you're doing. So what you want to do, or if there's like weird configs and stuff that, you know, sometimes stuff is in not the best quality, and you don't know who's creating it or maintaining it. So Lua is not a complex language. A lot of this stuff is written in Lua. You can just go through, and your ability to just kind of look through and just kind of read it and not be afraid. Don't be afraid of the syntax. You just read the things. You can kind of see what's going on, and you can see the configs. Like, there is no, when you learn the basic ability to just kind of, well, RS. Is this Rust? Okay, maybe don't look at that. Your ability to just like go through and understand code unlocks the whole thing. You don't need a README, right? You don't need documentation if you can just kind of grip through and find the things that you want. And what you'll find, the more you do this, is it becomes exponentially easier and easier, because you know the patterns to look for. You understand the things. You're not looking at a page that just looks like fuzz anymore. You're like, oh yeah, I see these chunks of common things. This is how generally people have agreed to lay things out for a NeoVim plugin. This is how the folder structure generally is. And this is the same with any, it's different with different languages, and it's different code bases. But the more you do this, the more you'll just get an idea for the things that matter to you. And you'll be able to very quickly like go through and just see what's going on and be able to understand it. And it's just a lot less hassle, right? It's a lot less hassle than, you see a config, oh, this doesn't quite work. Let me try something else. Oh, let me ask AI. Oh, let me go on Stack Overflow and copy and paste somebody else's code. Try, oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that did something I don't expect. Especially with NeoVim, it's like, that's not going to get you there. That's not because the versions come out so quickly and things change and different people use to have different plugins and the different plugins interact in different ways. You're just not going to be able to a lot of times take somebody else's code and just copy and paste it and use it without understanding it and modifying it to fit your scenario. So, NeoVim comes with upsides and downsides. I think that's a upside as a skill that you get just by using NeoVim enough. And you can apply to a lot of other things in your life, right? Like, don't be afraid of, I don't know, cooking and like, how does that work? It's not the craziest thing in the world. You just got to learn a few fundamental things and you're good. Anyway, this turned into a rant. See you on the next one.